Hi, happy Star Wars Day. This year, to mark this auspicious occasion, I shall once again be bringing to life one of the vehicles presented in the Rebel Alliance sourcebook produced by West End Games to go with their old Star Wars role-playing game. Now, last year I did the Rebel Freerunner. This year, however, I'm going to be looking at the lighter ULAV vehicle, the ultralight assault vehicle. I began the process in the usual manner by making a 1:1 scale sketch of the model that I wanted to build, and this was easier than it was for the Freerunner last year. Firstly, because there are more images available. There have been quite a few graphics produced showing ULAVs from various angles, so I had more information on what it looked like than simply a profile view in the sourcebook. And secondly, the smaller size of this vehicle meant that I could go with the scale presented in the sourcebook without a model looking ridiculously large if it's on Star Wars Legion scale like I want. And once I had this two-dimensional sketch, I then went on to a three-dimensional card prototype. And this prototype then showed me how I was going to make my plasticard core, and I did reduce the height of the cockpit slightly between the prototype and the core because I thought it looked a bit too tall. But now that I have got this core model ready, I can proceed to adding the details. So here is the detailed model, and as ever, most of the details just consist of smaller pieces of plasticard cut to size to build up the panelling effect on the sides and some of these small details, as well as what I'm presuming is some sort of repulse lift control fins on the side and underside of the main motor units. I've also used a plastic screw on either side of the cockpit for a detail that appeared on the original drawing, and some computer ribbon cable for the sort of ribbed effect on the upper surface here, as well as the engine inlet vents at the front. The blaster cannon at the back is scratch built just out of various bits of plasticard and some tubing and a piece of balsa wood, as you can see. And I used a little bit of artistic license on this because the images available were a little contradictory in their details. Obviously, different people had different takes. And I have added this sort of grille section at the back to represent an engine exhaust, because I felt that these two parts here on the side, so like the engine units on the sides of the model, they didn't really look big enough to me to represent the propulsion system for the military craft. So I've added this as well. As well as the main blaster cannon at the back, we've got the two lighter cannons underneath. These are represented just by a couple of bits of plastic tubing to show them mounted under the nose. And then there was the question of what to do about the grenade launcher, because it didn't appear in any of the images, and I couldn't really figure out how it would have been mounted. So what I've done is I have mounted another piece of plastic tubing here, and just added a bit of a detail behind it to represent the grenade launcher being mounted here alongside the cockpit. Now I have a base for this model. This is a 100mm base, and a bit of wire will just mount through the hole in the underside of the model. And with the base and the detailed model done, this is now ready to be painted. And here is the painted ULAV vehicle. I've gone for my standard colour scheme of pale grey with some red details. And if I just bring in a few other Star Wars Legion models, you can see how this model would fit in with them. For example, as part of a small patrol. and I hope you've enjoyed watching me create this model based on one of the old Western Games role-playing game vehicles. And thanks for watching. Bye.